And I'm always going to come with my own biases. And it's one of the reasons I was afraid to direct this movie, let alone act in it. And I wanted to make sure this film always had a female gaze.
Set, and action 3, 2, 1. You can feel it coming. Everyone pauses, takes a breath, and checks in as she's fully dilated and nearly there, encouraging her through each moment as she crowns before the scene cuts. The video then shifts as the host greets viewers and explains that Blake Lively's voice memo where she discusses her body, asks Wayfair to push the film's start date, references another project with Justin, and opens up about her life with Ryan is now public thanks to Clark on the subreddit and the team at Docket Updates, a site documenting every filing in the court case and hosting the materials on docketupdates.com. The host mentions appearing on a live stream with them earlier, promotes their YouTube channel, and encourages viewers to subscribe, noting how much work they've put into compiling documents, including revised script notes from Angie Janetti to Blake, a voice note, an expert report, shared and complete emails and text messages from August 1st through August 20th involving Justin, Jamie, and the crisis team. The video's focus then turns to Blake's audio note, which is being used by the defense to argue that she was the first to raise concerns about her readiness to film after giving birth, her need to lose weight, her exhaustion, and anxiety about being separated from Ryan for a month. In the memo, Blake explains that she hesitated to share her worries but felt encouraged to do so because of the trust involved, describes working with a director she likes but feeling overwhelmed by the lack of prep time, admits she's under intense stress without a baby nurse and facing pressure to return to work immediately, and questions how she's supposed to work out, prepare for the role, and be on set every day, ultimately admitting she feels stretched too thin but is moving forward because she gave her word and feels obligated to make it work. As the reality of returning to work gets closer, she admits she's panicking because she wants to focus fully on their movie and feels she needs more time, explaining that shooting in March or April is simply too soon after having a baby, not sleeping, and wanting to be in her best shape, which is why she floated the idea of possibly starting in September instead. She says she's trying to make that shift happen with the director's support, and wanted to give a heads up in case moving the schedule slightly earlier might help on the other end, acknowledging the selfishness of the request but stressing that nothing is set and everything remains unchanged for now. She also opens up about the stress she and Ryan are feeling about being apart for nearly a month, something they've never done before, especially with their kids getting out of school in mid and their original plan to leave for London immediately afterward now threatened by a filming schedule that could stretch to the end of June. She emphasizes that none of this is anyone else's problem and that she's speaking more as a friend than anything, but admits that having until early May feels essential because she doesn't believe she can pull it together any sooner. She ends the memo with sour humor about rambling, asks for discretion, confirms nothing has officially changed, and jokes about voice notes being her only social interaction before signing off warmly. The host then explains that Blake had signed on to a film called Proxy with a Hungarian director that ultimately never happened, noting that in the audio Blake clearly asks Wayfair to move the start date from April to May so she can get her body camera ready and mentions not yet having a baby nurse. The host contrasts this with Blake and Ryan's past public claims that they had no help raising their children, pointing out that the memo contradicts that image and highlights Blake raising concerns about her body, her private life, and her desire not to be separated from Ryan for more than 2 weeks, including wanting to finish by mid-June so she could join him in London while he filmed Deadpool and Wolverine. The audio is presented as evidence that Blake herself first raised these issues without prompting from Justin, especially when paired with a later text from Ryan sent weeks afterward making a similar request, reinforcing the idea that family separation, that was a major source of stress and a central issue. Throughout the scheduling conflict, he explains that he's been frantically powering through a third pass of the script to address structural changes, mainly to cut the budget and shorten the shoot so he can fly back with the girls when school starts, acknowledging that they already made major accommodations for her schedule after she was able to gracefully step away from another film she'd committed to. He emphasizes how big an ask it would be to start 2 weeks earlier, joking hyperbolically that he'd tattooed the line producer's name on his perineum if they could make it happen, even quipping about how sensitive that part of the body is, before ending warmly by telling Justin how much he adores him. The commentary points out how strongly they wanted a May start so Blake could be ready after shifting other projects, and questions the double standard in how crude humor or medical references are perceived depending on who says them, arguing that Blake freely shared personal details while anything Justin said was later weaponized in court. The host then introduces a new clip from the dance montage, noting that copyrighted music limits what can be shown but highlighting an early moment that contradicts Blake's description of events, as the footage shows relaxed, collaborative choreography, playful banter about a hat and a sticker, and clear discussion of where a kiss would happen. In context, the so-called inappropriate nuzzling appears choreographed and anticipated, with Blake appearing comfortable and even playful, including initiating comments about scent and body makeup, reinforcing that this was a planned love and dance montage where both actors understood the physicality required. The analysis argues this does not resemble sexual harassment but rather two professionals rehearsing intimacy for a scene, something the judge had already suggested would fall under the creative process. As more documents emerged, the host claims many of Blake's allegations appear exaggerated or misconstrued, especially when contrasted with her own creative notes on the script, where she criticized earlier drafts for not being sexy enough, calling the banter juvenile and pushing for a more grown-up R-rated tone. Those notes praise the character work but explicitly request more heat, sexiness outside the bedroom, and moments that would meet audience expectations for an R-rated adaptation, directly undermining claims that Justin was unilaterally injecting gratuitous sexual content into the film. She asks to be updated on the plan for the lovemaking scenes once it's clear, stressing the importance of finding a balance between sweet, funny, and endearing moments with genuine heat so the transition into the abuse section doesn't feel like a sudden shift from rom-com to drama. Expressing gratitude throughout, based on the script changes Blake made, Ang's primary concern was that the film was expected to be R, meaning audiences would anticipate adult themes such as stronger language, intimacy, and sex scenes, especially since the book itself contains heat, and that this expectation came not from Justin but from Sony, emphasizing that an R rating couldn't rely on language alone. Despite this, the film ultimately wasn't rated R, and Ang repeatedly objected to a specific creative choice involving the repeated use of the no kissing on the mouth line in both a rooftop scene and a bedroom scene, a clear nod to Pretty Woman, which Blake and Ryan were attempting to repurpose for nostalgia, but Sony rejected it out of respect for the original film, concerns about appropriateness, and the fact that it wasn't in the book. The commentary also revisits Isabella's deposition where she claimed discomfort over being asked to lick something during a baking scene, pointing out that this moment was explicitly written into the script, which includes detailed descriptions of flirtation, physical closeness, sexual tension, and a passionate kiss between young Lily and young Atlas, a scene added by Blake and Ryan themselves rather than Justin. This contradiction is used to argue that later claims of gratuitous or inappropriate behavior are disingenuous. The analysis then turns to Blake Lively's court declaration, where she attempted to reframe an alleged unscripted kiss in a hospital scene as planned and consensual. But the original script drafts for both the hospital and apartment scenes clearly contain no kiss at all, only dialogue and playful exits, directly contradicting her claims. The conclusion drawn is that Blake exercised creative control when it suited her, freely discussed bodies, weight, scheduling, and family separation, requested delays and schedule changes, and participated in shaping intimate scenes, yet later portrayed those same creative and collaborative moments as misconduct. While similar contributions or dialogue from Justin were treated as inappropriate, despite studio notes explicitly calling for more maturity, heat, and adult tone rather than a light rom-com approach. They argue that the studio wanted a drama thriller, while she pushed for a rom-com because lighter films like Barbie's projects draw wider audiences and more men, and that the changes made to the script altered it so dramatically it ultimately confused viewers. The commentary claims she now frames Justin's actions as attempts to pursue her sexually or get closer to her, even though those moments were written into the script, developed through drafts she herself contributed to, and aligned with notes she received after shaping how she wanted the story to look. She is portrayed as acting shocked by sexual tension involving young Lily, by intimate scenes, and by moments like nuzzling or discussing an on-screen kiss, despite those elements being scripted and discussed, while simultaneously insisting that the two kisses she personally added were always planned, even though the scripts clearly show they were improvised. The audio is cited as further proof that she initiated a friendly, open relationship, shared personal details about her life, marriage, family, and other projects, and was repeatedly accommodated by the production, while similar openness from him was later treated as inappropriate. The speaker points to text messages where she discussed deeply personal topics involving his wife as evidence of a double standard, concluding that the narrative being presented now is fabricated and inconsistent with the documented record, which is all available on the court docket via docketupdates.com. The video closes by encouraging viewers to support Carol, the host covering the documents, by subscribing to her channel, engaging with her content to help her reach monetization, and then asks viewers to share their thoughts in the comments, like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and thanks everyone for watching before signing off.